Hello guys, today we're at the Paul Ricard circuit and we're going to be racing in the FW31.
Yep. I know last time we went out on a track, which was actually only last week. Wow, 2 weeks, we're doing 2 track reviews in a row.
And we really like that track.
Yeah, we really like that. And we took out the Formula 3.5, but obviously this time we thought, let's take out a different open wheel, it wouldn't be very good if we just took out the same car every single week.
No. It'd be good to compare though.
Yeah, it would be good to compare.
But I think we like changing things around. So
yeah, we do like changing things around. So we've got the Paul Ricard circuit, and we'll go through all the specs and everything first, just as usual, and then we'll talk about the mod itself, which again, it's a really good mod.
It is. It's very impressive.
Very impressive.
The thing right now is with these circuits, it's gone up a notch, hasn't it?
It really has, yeah. I think past few months it's just gone up and up and up. It's when you sort of when we first started looking at modding in Assetto Corsa. Remember our first mod video, our 3rd episode, and we looked at it and we thought, ooh, this looks good.
Yeah.
And it was Snoopy's Nordschleife.
Oh yeah.
And it was a BMW skin, and it was the Angel Eyes liveries and a weather mod.
Yeah, I remember it now.
Yeah?
I remember it. Yeah, now that you've mentioned it, I remember it now.
And now we look at it and it's just completely different.
Yeah.
It's like a whole it's like a whole new simulator in many ways.
Like I said, it's gone up a few notches. And at the beginning, I remember us when we looked at laps and we were looking at cars, but we were more concentrating on cars, weren't we?
Yeah, we used to concentrate sort of on. It was more all about graphics.
Yeah.
At that point, and now it's about grip and texture and physics and feeling and like you said, we're looking at tracks, more tracks now than ever before. We've looked at Donington. We've looked at this one, Paul Ricard, we're looking at today, Barbagallo, Lake Louise.
Oh yeah, Lake Louise.
Lake Louise is a fantastic one.
Beautiful track.
And as you can see, there is a map in the side, but I wasn't using the map. I thought I'd learn this track straight out. So first few laps, you'll see me going off quite a few times. I didn't know whether this track would be any good for a Formula 1 car, but apparently, after looking at it, it is. Now, this was way before I was born. I don't know whether you might remember it if you ever watched Formula 1 as a kid. This track.
No.
Because this track was a couple of years before I was born. So I believe the track was opened in 1970.
Couple of years.
Well, no. I mean the last time it was hosting. It was opened in 1970 and it hosted, I think, the first of its 14 Formula 1 races it hosted.
Wow. Yeah.
And the first one it hosted was in 1971. So it is an old track. It has been around for a while. I think it was actually built in 1969. So it waited a few months before it opened. And while we're on the subject of Formula 1, it actually the world driver champion, Alain Prost.
I remember Alain Prost.
There we go. He
Prost.
actually won this race in 83, 88, 89 and 1990. And 1990 was the last time that this was on the Formula 1 calendar, which is a couple of years before I was born. So not ideal. I would have liked to see this track.
It is an impressive track.
It is very impressive.
And also on top of that, it's really nice to just look at its surroundings.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think before we go into that, should we just go through the specs as best as we can?
Yeah.
Because this track's a little bit confusing.
We'll go on to that bit in a bit.
Yeah.
We'll start with the length. It is quite large quite long even compared to last week's at 5.8 Ks.
I think it's 4 times its size.
Yeah. And it's got about 3 times more turns as well.
Yeah.
Because it had 7 that one, didn't it?
Yeah. This one has 25 turns, so it's quite a track. But obviously there's a slight change down that back straight that you just saw me going down. That's called the Mistral Straight or the Mistral Straight, and there's a chicane that I go through. Now that chicane never used to be there. At least it wasn't there a long time ago, and that meant that the cars used to do laps. I think, what's the lap record?
108? No, 108? 139.
139.9. That's without the chicane.
I'm just reading the spec on this. It had a 1.8 kilometer straight.
Yeah, that's the 1.8 kilometer straight.
Wow.
Without the chicane, that straight was 1.8 kilometers long. Puts Abu Dhabi to shame, kind of, doesn't it?
That would be so impressive right now.
I think Abu Dhabi actually has the longest straight in the Formula 1 calendar right now.
On top of your head, do you know
But
how long that is?
I think it's 1.5. So it is slightly shorter. But that lap record was by KK Rosberg, so that's quite a blast from the past. And what also happened is that there was also a shorter version of this track. After 1986, there was a shorter version, and that was the 108.
That's the way. Yeah.
And that was Nigel Mansell, and that was in 1990. Now the reason they shortened the track, there was a number of reasons. One was that fast section. This, as you can see from this track, it's very fast. It's very fast, and you got really, really fast straights into really, really tight corners. So you had a lot of engine stress, and a lot of the tires would heat up a lot. So you used to end up with blowouts of either the engine or the tires, such as I think 1985 Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, the legendary Senna, he had one as well.
Yeah, his engine blew on his Lotus driver then, and he was doing about 200 miles an hour, and he was at the end of that long straight. And you'll see that at the end of the long straight. As a matter of fact, are we coming anywhere near that? I don't know.
I think you passed it. I think we passed it.
Yeah, we have passed it. We just passed it. So at the end of that long straight, there's a fast corner. Right now, you can go into that corner at quite high speeds if you've got the grip. Engine blew, oil on track, slipped over his own oil, smashed into the wall.
Wow.
Only got away with light bruising though. However, in the same weekend, Nigel Mansell did the same thing in a way, same corner, coming at the end of that straight, doing 200 miles an hour. Tyre exploded, detached his rear wing, smashed into the wall, gave himself a concussion, was out the race for the weekend.
I should be laughing, but I'm just.
I think it's just the delivery of that.
It's just when I think of Nigel Mansell, I just think of his moustache, and he just makes me smile.
Not only
and
that,
laugh.
it just you know what? When I think Nigel Mansell, I remember him talking about when he was faster than anyone else, and he was faster, and they were asking him how was he like 1.5 seconds faster than every other driver, and he turned around, he's a Brummie. So for those who don't know, Brummie's Birmingham. He's from Birmingham in England, and he's like, I don't know. I just twiddled the wheels, and it was just I was just fast out. And the way he said it was like completely like dazed. Like I have no idea what I just did.
Yeah, Brummie accents are very difficult to understand. No offense, I mean
they are.
It's
strong Brummie accents are very, very difficult to understand. But yeah, so there is a lot of history on this track. Now, in 1986, there was a death of a Formula 1 driver. A Brabham driver. I think his name was Elio de Angelis, and he actually was killed.
Angelis.
Is it Angelis?
Yeah.
And he was killed on this, so that's why they made the track shorter.
Very short in comparison.
They cut it down to 3. I think they cut it down to 3 kilometers, 3.8 kilometers at the end.
I'm looking at Nigel Mansell's. Well, he had the fastest lap on that on the safe lap, and that was 108. So. What, 30 seconds off?
Yeah, it was quite a significant drop. But obviously we're on the long track here. Now, this track, even though there was a death of a driver and there was a lot of crashing, this track was known for its safety. And, it was a very, very safe track when it opened. In fact, if you look around, you can see in the replay box as well, do you see those blue striped areas and the red striped areas? Yeah. It's something that was very unique about this track. But they're actually there for a reason. The blue areas is called Blue Zone,
obviously, yeah.
And it's actually the tarmac there is a mixture of asphalt and tungsten.
Yeah.
So it's a very grippy surface, and it does slow you down. It really does slow you down, which is like instead of a gravel trap, you had this, and then they had the red zone further up, which was the red striped ones, and that was a really abrasive track texture. And it used to slow the car down so quickly, so you wouldn't actually
crash.
Didn't
that cause damage to the tyres, though?
It would shred the tyres. But then again, you didn't want to go that far out. If you went that far out, odds are you are out of control. And then behind that, they had what was new at that time, Tech Pro barriers. Now you see them everywhere. So you got these Tech Pro barriers. Instead of tyre walls, you had these specialised barriers. You see them now. Yeah. When you can see a Formula 1 driver can crash into these barriers and barely get away with a scratch. Yeah, before, tyre barriers used to plough into them. I mean, I remember Schumacher in 1999? Schumacher, 1999, crashed into a tyre barrier at Silverstone. Broke his leg. Just straight into the barrier. Tech Pro now, if that had been Tech Pro, might have got away without a broken leg. And now, obviously, they have Tech Pro and stuff like that. But it's got a lot of history, this track does.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, now, the present, it's owned by Bernie Ecclestone, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
or at least his company anyway. Is it
Exilis,
Exilis
yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
And it's used as an advanced test track. As I spin, see, Tech Pro barrier, don't get hurt. But it's owned by it's owned by Bernie Ecclestone's company Exilis, and it's used as a test track. So I think they call it the Paul Ricard High Speed Advanced Test Track or something. Not a very nice name, to be honest. I just call it Circuits Paul Ricard.
Yeah.
It's much better. And it has hosted some other events apart from Formula 1. So you've had a World Touring Car Championship here.
Yeah. The FIA GT Series.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, do you think we should add this track to our GT Series then? Because we're in the FIA GT Series with our McLaren, I think we should add this track to it. Because
the only thing that's missing, I mean, you picked up on it, is it's missing the people, the audience. Yeah,
it's because, I mean, if you think about it now, if it is a test track, it's not used. So you're not going to have the audience. And it's kind of, I don't know, when I was driving on this, I was really happy to be driving on the track because I found that it was a fantastic track. Not as in just the mod. The mod itself is phenomenally good. But the track driving itself, I have not... It was a fast track, but it was at the same time really, really technical. So to get to grips with it was incredibly hard. That being said, when you looked out to the side, you didn't see any grandstands. You didn't see any people. You know, people lining... You should have people lining the hills there.
A stand here and there.
Exactly. And there wasn't. And because there wasn't, it was kind of sad in a way. Yeah, it did feel lonely. And I know it's a simulator and you're on your own anyway, nothing's real. But when you see people like, on the side, it feels like you're actually practicing for something. Yeah, and now it just felt like, you know.
And obviously it's not, it's what it is, isn't it? I mean, they've done it as it is, so.
It is as it is, but I really would have liked, I mean, there's some people in the pits, but that's about it. And that's probably like pit crew and Bernie Ecclestone.
It just feels like, you know, I know what you're saying. I know what you mean.
It feels empty. It feels like an abandoned something that, you know, when you get horror films, you know, when you see a horror film where they've got a fantastically built place, everything's there, you know, all the appliances, all the utilities, everything you've got, but it's completely empty. It's clean, it works, it's brightly lit, but not a soul in sight.
Here's a question. Now you've said that, would you race on this again, as it is?
As for on my own, no. If I was doing a race, yes. But on my own, it's a great track, don't get me wrong, but it feels lonely. And with that, I think we'll move on to talking more about the mod itself. Actually, one thing we forgot to mention MotoGP as well. We used to do MotoGP on here from 1990 to 1998, I think. I think they did MotoGP. But yeah, the mod itself, it's uploaded. Race Department used I think it's Stroke 3D.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's pronounced. And it is a big mod. It's bigger than Barbagallo, but then again, it's a bigger track than Barbagallo.
165 megs?
Yeah, zipped up, and I think unzipped it was 350 meg or something.
Okay.
So it is quite big. However, you know that from the size of it, you're going to get something pretty good. Yeah. And I tell you, it is top quality.
The visuals are very impressive.
Very, very impressive. Not just the visuals. I think the physics on it, the way the car grips on the track, it was very, very impressive. I didn't at any one point did I feel that the car was just gonna give out because there's something wrong with the mesh. Everything was nice and smooth. I mean, yes, there are bumps because obviously the track has to have bumps, but there's not bumps where you don't expect them. If you see a bump, you're gonna hit the bump. If you don't see a bump, it's not suddenly gonna ping you off into space. Which actually, do you remember that Yas Marino one we once?
Yeah.
And do you remember there was like holes in it, and you just end up anywhere? This doesn't have that, and I did check off camera. I went quite out to the side, check it out, hit the barriers. It's all there, which I thought was really, really impressive. And like we said, high quality, just as high as Barbagallo.
Yeah. And you know, one thing I will say is, just by looking at the circuit, you know you're in like I'd have thought you're in England, but
a
not
European
far off.
country.
Yeah, we're not far off. It's in France.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, in fact, you know, when I look at that, I think Le Mans.
No, because
it does have a feel, especially that chicane. When coming into that chicane, it's like the exact opposite of the Le Mans chicane down the funny, isn't that the Marseille Strait?
Marseille.
No, it's not. It's a Mulsanne Strait.
Is it?
That's one or the other. There are so many straights on the Le Mans track, but that's not the track we're looking at right now.
Back to the Paul Ricard circuit.
But yeah, it's really good. But obviously the track itself was quite flat because it was built on a plateau, so you're not going to see a lot of undulation. But the little undulation there is, it gives it a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Unlike Barbagallo, where everything was a blind corner.
Oh.
This is, you know, you can see ahead, but each corner is very technical. A lot of them catch you out. But like I said, the only thing that's missing is the people. That is really the only thing that I felt was missing. Apart from that, it was an incredibly fantastic drive.
One thing I will say is, you know, you're talking about using the same car, and I think you've chosen the right car for this circuit.
Oops. I went to say something and I just ended up coughing. Excuse me. I did want... I'll be honest, when I was looking at this track, I thought, I wonder what car would go well. And I thought, well, I need to take a Formula car out. And my initial one, I was going to take out the Formula Bath, the slow one.
Right.
And then I thought, let me just take this out.
I think you've done it. You've got this spot on with this car. I think you can take on a GTR, but I think with this car, you know how agile it is, and in comparison to the GTR, this is the right car to show off this track.
It was very, very
so
nice on feeling.
I think these two go hand in glove.
So there we go. There's a combination to try. Williams FW31 at the Paul Ricard circuit. That's something to try. I would probably not use I'd probably get rid of this chicane right here. Down, so you'd actually have the straight along, the Maestro straight or the Mistral straight. But overall, I want to give it 10. But I can't give it 10 just because there's a little bit missing on it.
Are we grading the mod or are we grading the track now?
Well, see, there's a problem here because this track is no longer generally in use.
Right.
But in Assetto Corsa, you'll be able to use it for racing. So, should there be a crowd on it? Maybe not stands, but should there be a crowd lining the side? And that's the big question there. A little bit of artistic freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for that, I can't give it a 10, but I am going to give it a next makes no difference 9.7.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you there. I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Yeah, it's just it's there. It's there, but it's not there in the ever so slightest way. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're quite critical in giving 10s away, aren't we?
I think we have to be now.
Yeah.
With the quality of mods that are coming out. The only mods that now track mods that I think I would rate that highly, I would give Snoopy's Nordschleife a 9.
Yeah.
Obviously there's KS Nordschleife now for Kunos. Barbagallo, we gave it a 10. This one, again, almost next to makes no difference, 9.5, 9.6. We've got Donington Park by Brun. Yeah. That one is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I mean, if those three mod authors, so this one here, Strux 3D, Brun, and Darren Blythe, you three get together and make a track. I don't know. Name a track that you'd really like to see in Assetto Corsa that we don't have.
Oh, we don't have. Oh, I think you'd be the best person to answer that.
That's actually a tough question. Actually, you know what? As much as it's not brilliant, I would kind of like to see Circuit of the Americas in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would like to see that just to see what it's like. I know someone's making Canada, so I'm not gonna mention that. But I think that brings us to the end of the episode. Download links will be in the description box below. And so, as usual, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, and subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. And if you've got any mods that you want us to review, do leave a comment in our comments box below. We'll do our best to get to them straight away. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the end of this lap. We'll see you next time.